Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Cat's Track. We post an interview with an amazing Canadian each weekday for your daily inspiration. Today, I would like to introduce you to my friend, Kevin Krausert. Kevin was born in Calgary and is president of Beaver Drilling. He is most passionate about space exploration and the power it holds to unite humanity towards our greatest hopes and highest aspirations. So cool. Friends, you'll find his full bio attached. Enjoy. Kevin, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Catherine. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. May we start with the questions that I sent you this week?
Sounds good.
Awesome. So the first one is the hardest one. What has been your greatest challenge in the last 2 months?
I think it's been there have been many, and the amount of hardship that is out there in the COVID-19 reality is difficult to touch upon. And I want to make sure that everyone recognizes that everyone's faced unprecedented challenges during the past 2 months. For me, being the president of an energy services company in Canada, has really been the realization that the future is going to look much different than the past. Energy service activity in Canada is going to be depressed for the next 12 to 18 months. Not only are you seeing sort of an unprecedented demand drop to oil and gas that has filled up every oil storage facility in the world, the ripple down effect to the frontline workers in the industry is going to be severe and profound, because it's going to be some time before people go back to drilling for oil and gas, potentially more oil. But I think that it's easier to create a near-term bull case on natural gas than it is for oil. And the impact that is going to have on our province, on our country, on the hardest workers in the oil and gas industry has been a real challenge. And the approach I've tried to take is, well, how do we articulate a new future for that solves the sort of next 12 to 18 months and positions the company, the workers, the province, I think, for a more exciting future. I know everyone says we're all in this together, but some people are feeling the impact more than others, and frontline energy workers are certainly going to be feeling this the most. And so that's what has driven me and my team to work harder than we ever have worked. It's looking at what some new opportunities for the company, for the province, and for the country look like in what is going to be a new world. So, in short, the challenge has been, that I'm pretty comfortable. I'm able to work from home. I've had a decent career. But I know there are others who are not, and I think that that's the biggest challenge I've had to face is really articulating and building a new future for the company, and for the industry.
I can't imagine. How many people work at Beaver?
Well, it depends what time of the year we're working, because most of the field employees are seasonal based. So when a rig's working, there'll be 25 to 30 employees. And so luckily for us, we were shutting down our winter drilling season right before COVID hit. So they were moving into kind of seasonal layoffs anyway before COVID had sort of hit. Where the change is going to be what happens to drilling activity going forward, which is why we're working on that. So when we're full steam ahead, all the rigs are working in the middle of the winter, which is our busy time. We're 150 to 180 employees.
Wow, that's a big load.
Mm-hmm.
Well done. What are the 3 things that you would like to share with our audience today?
Yeah, I've thought about that one with some time, and I think the first big thing during any period of unprecedented disruption like we're facing is to realize that every crisis will pass. That sometimes when you're at the bottom of a curve, you think that your experience of reality will be the experience of reality forever. And same when you're at the top of the curve, you think that experience is going to last forever. And sometimes when you're in the middle of the gutter, you think that it's going to last forever. And every crisis does pass. This is now the 8th oil price cycle that Beaver Drilling has survived through. While there's some macro factors that make this one look different, we've always gotten through them before, just as we'll get through this one. And so every crisis will pass. And I know sometimes it doesn't feel like that when you're in the middle of it, but the only path forward is to really think about what the future looks like, and realizing that this crisis, like all the others, will pass. Secondarily, every crisis has an opportunity, and every crisis, when so many of the foundations of our industry, of our economy, are shaken to its core, there always is an opportunity to pick up the pieces and rebuild and find some new opportunities. And I think we're starting to find some green shoots of the seeds that I think we planted, that is pulling us out. And think about what your future is, either from your career perspective, either from your business perspective. Think about where there are opportunities. And I know, many companies, when you're just looking at the immediate crisis at hand, it's hard to pivot your thinking, it's hard to pivot your strategy out of the immediate crisis at hand. But every crisis has an opportunity, and we'll go from there. The last crisis, the 2008 financial meltdown, immediately walking out of it, the shale gas revolution was born, and transforming the cost of energy production and huge opportunities were found at it. And this too will be the same. And I think finally, the only real pathway through a crisis is through kindness. That sometimes it's counterintuitive. Sometimes when you're in a crisis, people get their fists up and think they've got to fight for what is theirs, and really what all that is doing is contributing to the crisis. To understand that, first of all, as difficult as your situation or anyone's situation may be, realizing that everyone is facing a difficult situation. And that allows you to think in a different way, and to realize and to be able to connect with people in a way that allows you to truly move past the crisis, in a way that's optimistic, in a way that brings people along, in a way that really builds the type of world and the type of future we all know we want. And that can only be done through kindness and understanding. And that is, I think, the hallmark of real leadership. While some are doing better than others, everyone is impacted by this. And understanding and having the patience for people to work through that allows you to move past the immediate crisis and build the type of future everyone rightfully deserves. So yeah, in short, every crisis will pass. Every crisis has an opportunity. And the only way through it really is kindness.
Wow. That's so nice, Kevin. Thank you so much for saying that. When you spoke to our Rotary Club, I just felt an instant connection to you. And I know all of our Rotarians felt the same way. I'm very impressed with your leadership, and definitely a fresh face for our energy industry.
Well, thank you. It's not as young as I once was, but it's certainly been a real opportunity during this pandemic, was to really think and re-articulate what our business looks like, and really think and re-articulate about what our industry looks like, and to let some of the battles of the past go. And the stakes are too high right now to allow us to kind of fall back into, I think, to some of the thinking that was before. When it's going to be interesting to see this industry and this province and this economy rebuilt. And it's been exciting for me to watch what I think when I started articulating some of this messaging in national media when the pandemic struck. I really sat back and I really questioned myself. I'm like, okay, well, when the Globe and Mail asked me to write my first op-eds, I was just sat back and I thought, am I sticking my neck out at a time whenever I shouldn't be sticking my neck out? And people were I think, craving a new type of vision and a new type of leadership for the industry. And, then my writings now land on the desk of the Prime Minister and the Premier, and to be able to articulate what a new vision for oil and gas looks like, and potentially even a new vision for our province. And so thank you. It's a little bit nerve-wracking, and it's a little bit it's also a little bit exciting. But I got to the question where I asked myself, if I'm not going to do this, if I'm not going to stand up and put my neck out and articulate what new future for my industry, for my company, for my country looks like, well, then who is going to do it?
That's right.
And so I guess anyone watching, that would be my words of encouragement, is there's more people supporting you than you'll ever recognize. And sometimes when you take a little bit of a gamble, it can pay off, like it has been for me. And we're finding opportunities that, frankly, we never would have even thought about before.
That's wonderful. That's awesome. Thank you. And the last one is, what's your good news or legacy story today?
Mm-hmm. That would be think that there's going to be, one piece. But if I hope there's any legacy that I think comes out of the work that I've been doing and my team's been doing over this pandemic, it has been to understand that the future will be much different than the past. But that doesn't mean it's not going to be a bright one. A few of the, specific initiatives that we've been working on. One, with, very difficult forecasts for oil and gas drilling in the future. We were able to sign a geothermal alliance with several petroleum service associations, all the geothermal, or most of the geothermal companies in Canada, and Clean Energy Canada, one of the most influential green energy lobbies in Canada. And it was a real opportunity, I think, to not just think about a way that we can put rigs back to work, but also put some of the battles of the past behind us. This tired narrative of energy versus the environment is frankly not true on either side. To somehow suggest that oil and gas doesn't care about the environment when we are the largest investors in clean tech, rapidly decarbonizing, is just patently false. Yeah. And likewise, I'd say on the other side, I think to somehow suggest that the environmental movement is not concerned about workers' livelihood, I don't think is generally true. And because the stakes had been risen so high between the two sides, when the initial conversation came to be of, could we create an alliance between, petroleum service companies and the green energy movement? There was a lot of people who thought it couldn't be done. And through kindness, through patience, through understanding, a major milestone was reached that should put a material number of rigs back to work, and thinking about our industry in a way that creates a new business line, and that's for geothermal. So again, the future might be different than what we've expected, but that doesn't mean that it can't be a bright one. And the opportunity to put some of the battles of the past behind us provides the hope for me to kind of keep going. And we started rehiring again on today. Actually, was our first day of rehires. So it's paying off, and it's exciting. So yeah, the future will be different than it was, but that doesn't mean that it can't be a bright one. And if you believe in yourself and believe in your future and want to take a little bit of a gamble on yourself, and I think there's a real opportunity for this province and the workers in the energy industry, and let's do it together. Because there's no one person has a monopoly on good ideas. It takes a village, or it takes a province. And I think we can and we will do this, but it's looking past, I think, just the immediate challenges that many are facing, many with their families, many with their businesses, But when you kind of look past this, it's gonna be looking more exciting.
I love it. I agree.
Mhm.
I have a law ball question that you don't know I was going to ask.
Oh no.
Okay, so when do we see Beaver drilling in space?
Well, it's I guess it's no secret that we've created a collaboration between the University of Calgary, Beaver Drilling, 5 major energy firms, and the aerospace company Virgin Galactic, designed to accelerate innovation in the drilling industry. Actually, I would get a little bit of trouble for this, but I can announce today, I guess, that we are going to be doing Avatar Program 2.0, likely with a early summer start, and we will be doing intakes across industry that will allow people to join. And so I can't disclose the partners yet, but we've got some exciting ones. It'll be all done virtually, but the pieces are there, and that's some, I guess, exciting news that an innovation program that was born, I think, before the pandemic is being re-articulated bigger, better, and badder than we had before. And the official announcement should be coming out soon with all the details. But there's a real opportunity. So long story short, no, my 50-year strategic plan is to be the first driller on Mars. If we are going to terraform Mars, which is the goal of many to become a multi-planetary species, the first thing we need to do is actually drill on Mars for CO2, which is under the surface. So needless to say, that's not in my immediate business plans, but it's always the thought and the dream that I have of how do you apply the skills that you have to build a really, really exciting new future for our species. And I think space does that in a way that we haven't done before. But the Avatar program is coming back this summer, everyone. So sign up when you see the announcement.
That's so exciting. Is there a website or anything that we can look for?
I can't disclose that quite yet.
Okay. That's all right. It's okay. That's awesome, Kevin. And congratulations. That's so exciting.
For sure. Well, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Great. Thanks so much for having me, and keep up the good work.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks.
Well, everybody, that was the next episode of Cat's Track with Mr. Kevin Krausert with Beaver Drilling. So looking forward to watching his amazing career and all the things that he's doing for our community. Thanks again, everybody.
Thanks.